I think development is even always more difficult in fragile states of post-conflict or conflict countries. That's both the case for development organizations and institutions as well for the migrant organizations. I think the migrants are stakeholders in the conflict, either here or there. They have a link. And I think their voice should be heard by the development organizations, and they should be involved at least in the debate. Whether their role is always positive or might be negative, we have discussed this morning, but there is a big challenge. I will give the example of the Armenian diaspora. Armenia itself, the Armenian diaspora is much more powerful than the Armenian population itself. I will give you the examples of a recent case. There was a meeting of the Armenian bishops. There are 13 bishops. 3 of them are living in Armenia, but the other 10 are living in Lebanon, Damascus, United States, France, and elsewhere. Their position on the Armenian genocide conflict with Turkey or with Azerbaijan is not very favorable for any solution of the conflicts in Armenia. And they dominate the total discussion. What we see in post-conflict countries, that very often civic society is also affected. And what you see in post-conflict countries, that civic societies, being weak, have a low absorption capacity. And that's where I see that there is a tension very often between the agencies, the development agencies, and the migrants, where we are then reluctant, but slowly supporting the process. We see very often a certain impatience of the migrant representatives, because they see then possibilities for themselves to go into the country, while the absorption capacity of the partners is not there. And I'm not discussing about the capacities and the capabilities of an absorption capacity of the organizations over here. There is a tension. I think in post-conflict countries, this tension is much more clear than in normal transition or MDG countries where there is a normal development, because the phases of the process of development are more equally and balanced, and there is more time to get to know each other, and then I come back to the trust in the morning.
If we look at the migrants and their involvement in post-conflict situation, I must say that they are, it's very difficult, simply because majority of migrant organizations, community-based organizations, are voluntary organizations, more than 90% of them. And after the conflict, we saw the best research could have been done in, for example, Kosovo, that until 1999, after NATO entered the country, you couldn't see one international organization working in it, whereas you could see migrant organizations involved in it, financially, providing goods, remittances, and everything. The Dutch cooperation agencies, and also outside the Netherlands, did cooperate with these migrant organizations, because this was the only door for them to support the society in Kosovo. In June 1999, when international community entered Kosovo, the migrants weren't needed anymore. So you had, in a very short time, more than 400 international organizations with an annual budget of above 1 million operating on a very small territory with 2 million people. They did so until the money was gone. And the migrant communities couldn't get the access and weren't interested for local parties to work with, until the stage came when the international community did move. So the local civil society nowadays is looking for this migrant to support their works, because the international community almost left the country.
How can you expect from the migrant communities in the Netherlands or in the Western countries that they can play a substantial role in the post-conflict society in terms of development? So I think this is a kind of unfair debate, an unfair question. So I would, at the end, I would like to sum up some important and very valuable contributions of people I know from the Rwandan and Burundian communities. They played a major role in setting up important projects, schools, hospitals, you name them, from their own communities. And those were post-conflict societies. But hey, these people, the Burundis and the Rwandese in the Netherlands, they don't have a development organization. They don't have money. They do that with their own money. Sometimes they get money from Coordate or ECO or perhaps sometimes from organization like SEON, very, very less amount. But still they are doing a constructive job in their countries of origin. And some of them, of course, some migrants are involved politically in their countries of origin. Some of them, they have a less constructive role in their countries of origin. All those things are there. But this statement is not helpful in the whole development, migration and development debate which we are involved in the Netherlands. That would be my comment.
What I see is that women groups, not very organized, but sometimes even on a local level, manage to meet in the Netherlands, Muslim and Christian women, for example, from the Moluccas, who use their experience of reconciliation in the Netherlands to reconcile, at least to contribute to reconciliation in the Moluccas. That's an interesting experience. I'm not sure that it would work the same way with men. So maybe in one of your research fields for the future, it would be interesting to do some research on the role of women.